everyone, this is Jay Whitner with Kickstarter Coaching and our TV show on the internet, Crowdfunding Coverage. We do a quick recap on what happens every month in crowdfunding. So today we're going to be talking about April of 2015. There's some interesting news in April that we'll get to. There were 13 major campaigns in the month that did at least $550,000 or more. And we'll talk about 8 of those campaigns. The 13 big campaigns raised over $42 million in April, which I believe is a record. The largest campaign in April was the Hive campaign, and that campaign raised $12 million. Certainly we'll talk about that. But first, the news for crowdfunding for the month. Yeah, I must apologize. This piece of news actually came out in late March. This map is a recap of where we are right now on state-level equity crowdfunding. Due to the time that the SEC is taking to approve equity crowdfunding on the internet for unaccredited investors, states are moving more rapidly. If you look at this map, states that are the color of Texas in the map already have passed all the regulation to have equity crowdfunding within the state. States that are the color of Florida are pending crowdfunding. If you do the math, you add it all up, approximately 38 of our 50 states either have or are pending equity crowdfunding legislation right now. So this is great progress, but it would make things much, much simpler if this was done at the national level due to problems with like marketing things on the internet and you're in Florida and somebody sees it in Georgia and that kind of thing. So hopefully the SEC will take care of this soon. On a very bright front, in 2014, the crowdfunding industry tripled almost over the prior year. So $16 billion, this has become a huge industry, and the growth doesn't show any real signs of stopping. So $16 billion worth of activity in 2014. Kickstarter came out with a new facility at the very beginning of April that is to provide sort of user-to-user assistance for creators that are running crowdfunding campaigns, that are developing campaigns. This is something you see at the very bottom of the Kickstarter page, and but I believe you can only see it if you're a creator. So if you've already done a campaign, you have a campaign running, or you're in the process of developing one, I think that is visible to you. So if this applies to you, check that out. It's just another way to get informed and ask questions about crowdfunding. Crowdfunding more and more is getting beyond small business and into big nonprofits. One example of this in April is the Field Museum. This is one of the world's most famous museums. It's in Chicago. They're using crowdfunding. They're running an Indiegogo campaign to raise $170,000. So far it's going really well, and presumably they're going to raise quite a bit more than that. So congratulations to the Field Museum. CrowdSupply is another crowdfunding platform. And what they're trying to do is to be sort of a Kickstarter, but to be a highly, doing a lot of selectivity, a lot of review of projects, a lot of oversight. So it's sort of a big brothery Kickstarter where they kind of oversee everything. CrowdSupply has raised a lot more money. They took in another $500,000 to like enhance their systems and processes and so forth. So good luck to CrowdSupply. Hopefully this will help them grow and prosper in the future. With a $16 billion industry, there's certainly room for everyone. And this was a news article about the a beekeeping project to raise honey that we'll talk about a little later in the program. But $10 million for this Indiegogo project, setting a new Indiegogo record. And again, we'll get back to that. The Wall Street Journal had an interesting piece this month, in April. And what it was about the benefit of running multiple crowdfunding campaigns. The data that they were using was based on Kickstarter. And to summarize, you know, the odds of success on doing your Kickstarter is like 37%, all else being equal, which it never is, but average is 37%. But for the second campaign, the success rate got to be approximately 80%, so almost double. So there's a real benefit to people doing repeated Kickstarters or Indiegogo campaigns. You build an audience, you gain experience, and so forth. So there's a real advantage to doing that. So we're going to talk in a moment about the 8 big campaigns. There's a huge size range from like $500,000 up to $12 million. The video length was from 1 minute 44 seconds to 6.5 minutes long. We usually recommend somewhere in the 2.5 minute zone is a good time for your video. Updates are important to keep your audience informed about what you're doing. The range here was 6 updates to 49. And really, it takes a little bit of work to do each update, so 49 seems a little bit thick to me. You have to judge your individual campaign and what's going on. In the length of the campaign, the campaigns that we were looking at were varied from 25 to 60 days. The current wisdom seems to be about 30 days is a good duration for campaigns. So 60 is getting a little bit long. You know, I think if there's some special reason you want the campaign to go on that long, it's hard to sustain the energy and the enthusiasm of everyone for a 60-day period. Last is the reward levels. The range here was 9 to 85. Everybody's excited when they're making their campaign, and they think up all these cool rewards, and then the campaign ends, and you made the goal, and everybody's really happy. Now you have to do the fulfillment of your campaign. And I wouldn't want to do a fulfillment on a campaign with 85 rewards. So be sure when you're designing your campaign, imagine that you're going to succeed, you're going to make your goal, and now you're going to have to provide all the rewards. So make sure you really want to have such a complex rewards system. So on to the campaigns. This is the fun part of every month's show. The first one that we want to talk about is a music instrument, and this is the Artiphon. They raised over $1 million, as did all the 8 campaigns we'll be talking about today. This is sort of a multiple instrument. You can use this, and it'll sound like a guitar. You push other buttons, it sounds like a piano, and on and on and on. An interesting campaign. They're offering their product in different colors, which I think is a good idea, depending on your costs. They also had an interesting thing to give one and get one. So basically, you'd be ordering 2, and they would send one to someone for you, and you would keep the other one. They also had supporting companies. They had a section on their website about that. So these were like people that helped them with the technology or suppliers, that kind of thing. Sort of a shout out to the people that, or the corporations rather, that helped them with their campaign. The next campaign was the Sesame, which, as you might guess, has to do with opening doors. So this is sort of a remote control for the deadbolt on the door of your home. You stick this gadget right over the deadbolt, and it mechanically turns the thing inside your door's deadbolt to lock and unlock the door. So again, they raised over $1 million. In their campaign, they had a nice graphic rewards section. And in their case, there were different levels of the device, and some, there was buy 1 device, buy 2 device, multiple numbers of the things. They also had early bird was one of the strategies that they used. This is you have like sort of a main price in your Kickstarter campaign, and you have a discounted price for the people who buy early, to sort of get the ball rolling. They also use stretch goals in their campaign, which is a good way to encourage people to continue giving and to add features over time that do the budget and concerns up front. You didn't add all these options to your campaign at the beginning, but as more and more funds come in, you're able to add those things. The next campaign is Dwarven Forge. This is for tabletop gaming. So this is to make sort of your landscape where you're going to play your tabletop games. So this is like streets, sidewalks, buildings, things like that. So you sort of build a thing on your dining room table where you're going to play this game. It was quite a large campaign, very successful. And some of the interesting things here were supplemental videos. Many people aren't aware you can have more than one video in your campaign. As far as I know, you can have as many as you want. They took advantage of that. Another thing that they did is they had add-on packs. So you have sort of rewards and then things you can add on to them. Then they had a pledge calculator, and that sort of goes along with the add-on packs. This is a tool that helps the donor figure out exactly how much his donation is going to be between the reward that they pick and the add-on packs and the shipping and all that kind of thing. So it helps them calculate that, and And from the creator's perspective, make sure you get the amount of money you're supposed to get for the particular reward. The next campaign was pretty cool too, Tico. This is a 3D printer, and what's interesting about this particular 3D printer is it's a unibody construction, which has a lot of advantages, and a quite aggressive price point for a quite capable 3D printer, only $179. So as you might expect, these people did very well. They brought in about $3 million with their campaign. Some of the interesting features of their campaign were they used GIFs, which are the mini videos. Those are very handy, especially for something like a 3D printer that moves around, so you can use that to show the movement. They had a nice fulfillment timeline. This was a big campaign with more of a high-tech device, so there's sort of a schedule of all the different steps in the fulfillment process that they've thought that through, and this is how long it will take, and so forth. They also had multiple early bird levels. Not sure what was the first campaign to use early birds, but now they've gotten into multiple stages of early birds. You have like the regular price, and then the early price, and then the super early price, and that kind of thing. All of these are just strategies to get your campaign off to a solid start, get things started quickly. And then we move into some Indiegogo campaigns. One interesting feature about this month, which I don't believe has happened since I started the program, is the top 4 campaigns are all from Indiegogo this month. Very cool. Congratulations to Indiegogo. They're definitely building some good momentum there. This campaign is called Conmen. This is a couple of characters from the science fiction TV show Firefly. And what they're doing is that this campaign is to make a web series of little shows, and it's about science fiction TV show graduates, after the show is over, that they go around to the science fiction conventions and sign autographs and meet the fans and that kind of thing. So that's sort of the premise. They raised a lot of money, over $3 million. Their campaign hit 17 stretch goals, many of which were for extra shows, more episodes. They also had a cool part on their website that was funder achievements. So they had little icons on their campaign, like, okay, we're up to 10,000 Twitter followers and 20,000 Twitter followers. So you have like little rows of little badges, sort of, for all the things that the backers did to help with the campaign. They also had a budget pie chart. So you could look at, they've raised this much money, where's all that money going to go? And so that people can look at the pie chart and see the uses of the money that's raised for the campaign. Next we have Super Troopers 2. This is for a movie. This is a sequel to the original, as you might have guessed, Super Troopers 1. This campaign raised $4 million and had some interesting attributes to it. One of their rewards was personalized videos, where like the stars of the movie call you up by name and talk to you in a video that they email to you. They also had some live events, which you don't see too often in campaigns, but you sometimes see. And a very rare thing, they had a live telethon to help with the funding for this particular campaign on Indiegogo, sort of like, I guess, the muscular dystrophy telethons. So in addition to all the normal things that you do for a crowdfunding campaign, they also incorporated a live telethon into the campaign. Next we have the Saunders electric bike. This Indiegogo campaign brought in over $5 million, quite large campaign. And they had some interesting attributes in terms of being really pretty in-depth about the specs on the bike, how many amps is the battery and how many miles can you go on a charge, and this kind of information. They also used a lot of GIFs, which makes sense for a product that moves around. It's a more visual thing. And they had a referral rewards program where you got effectively discounts on your purchase by promoting the campaign, which is a strategy that various campaigns have used. It's a little bit difficult to implement, but conceptually it's really smart. So, if you talk about my campaign on Facebook all the time, it'll give you a discount on your bicycle. Last campaign is the Flow Hive. This is a new and improved system for beekeepers to harvest honey from beehives. And you can look at the campaign, it's kind of interesting, but they have this mechanical system that you don't have to disturb all the bees. You just basically open a valve and honey comes out. which is a big advantage for everyone, and I guess the bees are much happier about that. So the Flow Hive set a new record on Indiegogo, over $12 million, which is really a lot of money for beehives. So congratulations to them. That's it for our show covering April of 2015. Hope that you enjoyed it. We'll be back in roughly a month, and we'll be talking about what happened in May. So we hope to see you then. Take care.